Hello everybody, welcome to William Heynes Limited. It is August 26. The wonderful Tom's with us today, so I thought we'd give you a very quick run round of what we're up to and see the cars in the business. And if you have any questions, please ask away. Drop us an email or drop us a DM and yeah, see if we can help. So we've got a Series 2 Ride and Drive. We've done upgraded radiator, a few electrical checks, a few bearing checks, and basically getting it prepped for the remainder of the summer for this gentleman. The car's going up north, so it's been collected in about half an hour, and then he'll have it for this weekend coming. Chassis 43, we did a huge amount of work on this car this year, basically a complete front end. It's done 500 miles with a new customer. He's really happy, so we're just doing 500 mile check, spanner check it, torque down the cylinder head. So it's just come back for a few just basic hour checks really, and I need to put a few hundred miles on it. Mark 7, we're doing major engine reworks, gearbox, axle reworks. That's been turned into an amazing car. I'll tell you a lot more about it, but it's for a wonderful gentleman who wants to go really quickly in the Mark 7, which is fun. Series 3 V12 manual. Real big problem with this, they've put .4 brake fluid in, mixed it with silicone brake fluid, which means you have cross-contamination. Big no, you can't cross-contaminate it. As a company, we only use .4 because you can get it anywhere. We know the boiling temperatures of it, but when you start mixing them, everything swells up, all the seals fail. So as a consequence of this bad mixturing happening previously, we've got to do all the brake calipers off, brake master and the servo off. So it's a bit of a sad state for the customer, but we'll get her right. And Axel's about to come out tomorrow, and Tom is started taking the brakes off. XJC, we're having a diff, we're upgrading a diff to 307. It's got a short ratio diff, so we're just in the process of having a diff rebuilt. Tom's doing brakes. Tom's new to the team. You can wave, Tom.
Hello.
So Tom is helping us on the service side of the business. Very important XK120, which I'm very excited about. Alan Clark's old car, and we've got the go-ahead from the family to get her running again, which is hugely exciting. We will do our own deep dive in this car. It's, for me, one of the most important XKs currently around. And I want to talk about a lot more because this car really is the ultimate preservation car. Dick Prothero did all the reworks of this car in 1960, 1961, converting it to 3.8, discs all around, etc., long-range fuel tank, competition Le Mans spec body. So historically, this is a hugely important car, and we're learning from it, actually, because a lot of it, as it wasn't done at the factory, it was done at Dick Prothero as a privateer. Things were done a little bit differently to how the factory would have done it. And now we're doing a total preservation, cleaning, preserving, acid neutralizing the body where there's rusty. Unfortunately, we're having to do engine gearbox differential. So that is very much underway, which I'll show you now. So in the rest of the service side, XK120, which we're almost finished with. Chassis 39, which we're about to road test. We have a 6-litre V12 E-Type come in, hell of a piece of kit actually, but unfortunately the disc failed. With a bad leak, so we're just about to take the rear axle out of that. Come through. We've got busy doing engines. Kristen and Dave's doing carburetors. So if we're winding down at the moment, so it's almost 5 o'clock, so everyone's on the just clearing up. So David's doing a set of Strombergs and a set of 4.2 HD8s, which are all very exciting. They start off like this, which are all a bit gnarly. They end up a bit more like that. So we've got a lot of engine work on the go at the moment, and one of the first stages of engines, when you strip them down, you obviously measure everything, make sure it's okay, and at that point you send everything off for acid dipping. So we're sending the engine block, we actually send the gearbox, flywheel, sump, and the cylinder head will go off to our acid dippers. It's so important when you go about restoring and rebuilding engines and transmissions, you've got to get them super clean, and the only way you can do that and to degrease them and fully get all the crud out of all the areas you don't want crud is by acid dipping. So a hugely important role and a really important process. Not many people talk about it, but if you haven't acid dipped an engine on an engine rebuild, you haven't actually rebuilt your engine, because you've still got lots of things, unhidden areas of corrosion deep within. So we'll keep going. We've just taken And actually, that engine is actually the Alan Clark 120 engine. So it's quite nice to see engine out, engine stripped down, off to the next stage. 4.2 Series 1 XJ6 engine, which is going to Qatar. So we just built top end, and the bottom end have just put high flow oil pump on it and all the bells and whistles. This is a completely standard road going engine, and it's just a lovely thing to build. They're quite involved with the Data 4.2, especially the XJ6 running alternators and power steering and air conditioning as well. So there's a lot going on in this. 1961 flat floor engine we've done for one of our Swiss restorations, which is very exciting. We've got carburetors, loads on the go, gearbox on the go, differentials on the go. Yeah, flat out. Keep going. Let's keep going. Series 1 4.2, it's a storage customer, so we maintain and service the car, and the car goes through his holiday house, and he has use of it for a bit, and then we go and pick it up, and then we clean it and go through it, and so that will be fully detailed tomorrow. Do a checkout sheet on it, make sure everything's okay, and then we'll go back into storage for a bit. Mark II 3.8, we've just done a clutch and gearbox rebuild on it, I believe, and again, just a really nice user. Just a fun thing. It's about to go to Ireland for a big tour around Ireland. So we're just putting that back together. Triumph Stag. Now, we don't normally do this, but it's for a good reason. I'm a trustee / director of Starter Motor, which is a charity based at Bicester Heritage. And we get young people, we go and find young people in schools and encourage young people that this amazing industry is a career. So, and the lovely thing about Starter Motor, we get young people from all walks of life into classic cars. So this particular Stag has been gifted to the charity, and we're just about to check out and check in on it. So we, as a company, we'll go through everything, give it a big service, put new tyres on it, and make sure it's safe and reliable for the charity to then have for the next year or so to promote classic cars and get young people into it. So really, really cool thing. We do a lot of work with Starter Motor, and a few of our younger team are ambassadors of Starter Motor, so it's another hat we're wearing, but the reason it's in here because we look after the fleet for them just to make sure everything is good and safe to go. Keep going. I've got Mrs. Heynes, Amy Shaw's XJ in 5.3 Le Mans. The problem when you own a restoration business is that you never get around to looking after your own cars, which all then creates a domestic at home, because it'd be, darling, where's my car? And oh yes. So we've taken it from the bottom of the queue, where it's been for far too long, to the front of the queue. So we're about to go through it and get it fully serviced and probably put a noisy exhaust on it, and Mrs. H will be very happy. So that's why it's here. That's the plan anyway. But this is actually a Le Mans edition, so if you're going to have one, good one to have. We've got new racking, which is very exciting. So we've got all our engines and transmission work all in one place. So we're getting there stage by stage. So the grown-up room, lots of exciting things. So the latest is early E-type bonnet hinges are totally different to later hinges. And this is a real problem for us because, as you can see with this one, the early ones had a huge tendency of cracking. So the factory very, very quickly modified them and beefed them up in essence. So C.16803 is the early specification. So what we've done, we've then had some very, very clever people 3D scan and then 3D print and nylon the recreation. So what's really, really important is we've got to have these early hinges to allow the correct bonnet fit on our early cars. So chassis 8, 35, gosh, 73, 74, chassis 8, the cars we're building here at the moment, we've got to have these. So we're going to, now we've got this approved, we're going to go off and cast them in aluminium. So if any of you have got early cars, you probably don't have these, but if you do want these, we will probably in the next couple of months have these available. We've really done this to get chassis 8 exactly where we want it, but these are some of the hidden details we do behind the scenes without telling many people what we're doing. I'm very proud of it. Adam's doing fuel lines and brake lines on the commemorative V12 at the moment. Chassis 73 is moving on really well. We've had huge issues with steering rack mounts. We're having real problems with metalastic at the moment, where the metalastic quality isn't good enough from our suppliers. It's a huge problem. So we're moving to polyurethane only on the steering rack mounts to stop the movement in the rack. So we've actually had a bit of a warranty claim ourselves, where we've had to get a lot of customers' cars back and convert it to polyurethane on the steering rack, which I'm very honest about because it's part failure. And it's not a workmanship issue, it's a part failure. So we're busy doing that. So we've had to go backwards quite a lot in this restoration to refit it with rubbers, which we can trust as a company. But again, it's part of the learning curve of what we're doing. Do we turn that off? We're fine. Adam's done full brake lines on 4.2 Series 1. Even down to colorizing, putting the yellow stripe back into the low pressure hose. It's a huge job doing brake lines on these cars. It's very delicate. You've got big issues trying to not scratching paint, but like always, you've done very well, sir. This is chassis 74, so this is the second batch of E-Type, so not OBL, but 74 of the flat floor generation cars. This is for our Swiss customer. I'm incredibly proud of this car. Mark and Morgan have been flat out doing final dry fit where we get bumpers, lights, chrome work, everything which you cannot do in paint is done now. So we dry fit the cars throughout the fabrication process, but then we do it second, third, fourth or fifth time, if not more, until it's absolutely perfect. And it takes an awful lot of work, and I'm very proud of what we're doing. But it does take a lot of work. Mark's been working very hard on it. Chassis 35, we're just in the process of finishing the bonnet off. The car's currently at the trim shop, getting trimmed, so hopefully we'll have it back in a week, 2 weeks' time, all being well. So yeah, very exciting. Commemorative V12, we're now testing it. Mega car, I'm really, really excited about this one. We've had a few issues just running in process, so we're just in the process of we test it, bring it back, test it again, bring it back. So we're probably end of this week, early next week, we'll be road testing, and then hopefully, all being well, we'll be good to go. So yeah. Then we've got chassis 18 over here. So this is the 18th right and drive fixed ever made. We didn't build this car. Always wanted to build a car, but we didn't build a car. It was done somewhere else. And then the customer had issues, and we had actually the picture frame cracked, which is quite common on the early cars. The early bonnet support frame got modified very quickly because they cracked. And one of the problems of running originality, sometimes you still have the same faults you would do in period, and that's a consequence of this. In this case, they reused the original, where we would personally have an original recreation made, which is slightly thicker, so it looks identical, but we save the problems of failure. So we're now putting that back onto the car, so stripping it back to go forward again. What else is going on? Chassis 8's in paint, that was almost finished, which is so exciting. Chassis 35 is in the trim shop, almost back, super exciting. We've got our, we call it the Austrian car, which is our privateer semi-lightweight, which is actually the bonnet off this one. That's massively in fabrication, where we're putting inner sill stiffeners in, rework all the original sills. We're trying to save as much as we can on the original body. We will do a complete deep dive on that car, probably in a few more weeks, because it is unbelievably cool. It really is one of the most exciting cars to be involved with, and going about it in preservation mode, which makes it a lot harder, but the end result will be sensational, it'll be super, super cool. And the highlight really at this moment this week is it takes us a year or so to build a body, and to have a body of that quality, that naked and that good, I'm really proud. It's taken 5 years to get WH where we are, but to be in the position that we're now, this is our base setting of restoration, I'm really proud of it. I'm probably rambling on more than 5 minutes, but thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let us know. If I can be of any help, let me know. If the team can be of any help, let us know. And drop us an email on info@williamhaynes.com if we can be of any help. See you next month. Cheers, bye.